Yes indeed guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Jay Jordan here, and in today's video we're going to focus on the WNBA season for the New York Liberty 2023. When I started this channel last year, this is the first topic I touched on. We recapped the 2022 season from the off season all the way through the season and into the playoffs. So I'm just continuing this series here. This will be part one of the video. We're going to focus on the off season, all the big moves in the offseason for 2023, and then in the part two we'll touch on the regular season, all-star weekend, playoffs, and all of that. So if you want to get notified whenever that gets posted, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, hit that like button on this video, especially hit the noti bell as well so you get notified whenever I post part two. Salute. Before we get into the 2023 offseason, you have to start at the end of the 2022 season. Just to give a little recap, the New York Liberty made it to the 2022 playoffs as the 7th seed, in which they faced the Chicago Sky in a best-of-3 series in the first round. The Liberty shockingly won Game 1 on the road, but ended up losing the next two to the Chicago Sky, ending the season with a 16-20 record. The next few months were pretty quiet until January, with free agency approaching on January 21st. In preparation, the Liberty extended qualifying offers to Han Shu, Maureen Johannes, and Crystal Dangerfield. The first big move of free agency happened on January 16, when there was a 3-team trade between the New York Liberty, the Dallas Wings, and the Connecticut Sun. The Dallas Wings received Natasha Howard and Crystal Dangerfield from the Liberty. The Connecticut Sun received Rebecca Allen and the New York Liberty's 6th pick, as well as Ty Harris from Dallas, and the Liberty got their big free agent acquisition, which was Jonquel Jones from the Connecticut Sun, as well as Kayla Thornton from the Dallas Wings. Also on January 16th, Breanna Stewart, formerly with the Seattle Storm, dropped a string of emojis on Twitter, which had everybody in a frenzy. We found out that those emojis were linked to what teams she had narrowed down her choices to go to in free agency, and the Statue of Liberty was one of them, which had me excited. I remember tweeting that if Stewie decided to come to New York, I was buying season tickets right there on the spot. And yes, on February 8th, Breanna Stewart signed with the New York Liberty, as well as Courtney Vandersloot from the Chicago Sky. The addition immediately came with championship expectations and the whole Big Three declaration from fans and media alike. To close out free agency, moves like Epiphany Prince from Brooklyn was signed to a training camp contract. The Liberty also signed Sika Kone, who was their 2022 draft selection, to a rookie scale contract. And there were a couple other trades happening. We got Leonie Fabich, a 2nd round pick from Chicago. Throughout the rest of the month of February, Han Shu was signed to a training camp contract. Niara Sabally was signed to her rookie scale contract. And on March 2nd, Maureen Johannes signed her qualifying offer, although she would not be with the team until later on in the season due to her overseas commitments. The team would end up signing 2 more players to training camp contracts, Morgan Green and Stephanie Mawuli. On April 10th, the WNBA draft took place and the Liberty had only 1 pick in the draft, which was the 30th pick in the 3rd round, in which they chose Akako Adika from the University of Southern California, the first player from that school to ever be chosen by the team. The Liberty entered training camp with 16 players on the roster and needed to get it down to 11 by the start of the regular season. JJ was coming into training camp still recovering from a stress fracture she sustained in her foot in the finals, and Courtney Vandersloot was put in concussion protocol for a hit she took during practice. Not ideal for a team trying to gel before the season. The first time we would see the Liberty in action was on May 10th, when they started their 2-game preseason with a trip to Connecticut to take on the Sun. With Sloot, Stewie, and JJ all out, the Sun won the game 63-57. An alarming stat was that the Liberty only managed 3 points in the whole second quarter. Not ideal. Their next game took them to Vegas 3 days later to take on the Aces. With JJ and Stewie suiting up for the first time, the Liberty lost 84-77, finishing the preseason 0-2. leaving way more questions than answers. With the season starting on May 19th, the Liberty made cuts to the roster, releasing Stephanie Mawuli, Morgan Green, Sika Kone, Epiphany Prince, and fan favorite Dede Richards, bringing the active roster down to 11. The Liberty then temporarily suspended Maureen Johanna's contract and re-signed Epiphany Prince on a hardship contract to bring the opening day roster to 11 players. These 11 women would all have a major part to play in the Liberty's quest to become 2023 champions. Well, that concludes the 2023 offseason for the Liberty. They lost a few players who were loved by the team and fans alike, but when you have championship aspirations, sometimes you have to destroy before you elevate. In part 2, we will get into the regular season, All-Star Weekend, and the playoffs. So, make sure you like the video, you're subscribed to the channel, and those noti bells are clicked so you know when part 2 drops. Salute!